So here we have the Carthaginians. Sorry for the skip today, I got busy. So, Carthaginians obviously have a very rich history of being sort of a trade colony and also big made colonies. And of course, more famously, for fighting Rome on 3 occasions, and of course the legendary Hannibal Barca of the Second Punic War. They are very powerful in game, as they were in real life. They do a lot of mercenaries, that is for sure. Once again, as they did in real life, fought a lot of mercenaries. You have the famous elephants right in the back here, as you can see. Might leave it like this actually, it's pretty cool. They got famous units like the Sacred Band, they fought several times with Syracuse. And they have mercenaries from all over Europe. You've got Italians, you've got Celts, Iberians, a real melting pot of all cultures trying to fighting as one, mostly for coin, and it did eventually result in a war for them, and that Rome exploited it and took Corsica and Sardinia. And, well, I guess we can go over their strengths. Their strengths are very flexible, incredibly flexible. They have really good skirmishers. Their infantry is pretty damn good. Some of the best out of the Hellenic-ish style factions. Their low tiers are pretty good as well. They're actually very good. Their cavalry is good. I don't say brilliant because it's better, but it's good. Their weaknesses include no horse archers. Oh well. There aren't many really. Carthage is like that really, really strong faction that's just good at everything. Just got the horse archers really, and the cavalry it isn't the best, but it's still a very capable force, so I guess we shall meet them individually now. So, we shall start the Libyan Hoplites of their very, very large roster. Libyan Hoplites, you treat them the same way you do militia Hoplites, except they cost 30 less and they're better against cavalry due to that 30 bonus versus large. They'll fulfill the same function. Essentially, they are the same unit, just slightly better, really. I think they do lack a bit of melee defense, though. Hold on, tea break. They do lack a bit of melee defense. Their defensive stats aren't brilliant, but they're 270, and of course their mass is lower. Though I should say Carthage can bring taunts, much like Athens. I should probably say that in these videos. Worth it. I know in my standard comp I bring 2 of them. But they do have a superior counterpart. In the late Libyans. For 30 more, you get the same stats, except you get 25 more armor. Now, this armor is 25 in the base value as well. So for 300, you're getting the same unit of 80 armor. Very, very, very good. My standard comp for Carthage includes, I think, 2 Libyan hoplites, 1 late Libyan, 3 Cretans, a Balearic, 7 or 8 Libyans, and then 3 Samnites. And the general got gem. But you can bring all of these guys if you want, depending on what you're taking. Once again, sorry for the cut. Dog started barking. Yeah, bring these guys. Very, very solid loader. Mercenary Iberian spears, as you can probably tell, have targetable peeler. Oh, but Iberian swords, sorry, not spears. Have a targetable peeler. As you can see, they have 80 range. Didn't stat, but it's considered 80 range. 5 volleys. Very, very, very strong. However, these guys will fold away if a rock even touches them. They have pretty good melee stats overall. The 60 melee defense. Decent attack stats. Mid-charge. Okay health and morale. Nothing brilliant. But if you're bringing them, you're bringing the targetable javelins, really, unless you really like Iberian units. But yeah, I'd highly recommend this unit. But once again, if they get shot up or even touched by any missile, they will die. Moving on to the Gallic warriors, which is a very similar unit to the Celtics, except they have higher mass, which just means they're bad against cav charges. They have lower health, lower charge, and lower attack, but they get higher defense. Overall, the Celtics beat the Gallics, but these Gallics will still act as Celtics, essentially. 350, same cost as the Iberians over there, and normal Celtic warriors. I'd highly recommend bringing them. They're very, very good. You can bring 4 of these even if you want. So, you know, if you need to bring low tiers, you can. Carthage can do anything it wants. So, yeah, highly recommend this low tier, much like the Iberians and the late Libyans. It really comes down to what you're facing, but highly recommend them. Moving on to their more armoured counterpart in the Merc Italian swords. 60 armour, with lower offensive stats, comparatively speaking, far lower. Actually, they do get quite more melee attack for a worse weapon, but they get less melee defense, less charge, same health and morale. But I used to hate this unit, but I actually quite like it now. I've learned that it's pretty damn good against other low tiers. Hold on. It's pretty damn good against other low tiers. For 400, you're going to bring 3 of them as well because they're mercenary. These guys can bring 4 and 4 Iberians. I'd suggest bringing them. Like, not always, but if you need an armored low tier for whatever reason, just to eat more peeler. For 100 more, you're getting a unit that's combat capable and will eat a lot of javelins. So, if you need it, honestly, just be a variation of low tiers. So, yeah. Personal preference, really. Merc Scutari. Same Scutari covered in our Aravachi video. Better on defense and attack, due to their lower survivability for Carthage, and they're cheaper, they're 620. Good stats across the board, good melee attack, really good defense. Okay survivability, but it's not brilliant by any means. Okay morale, okay charge, they'll do just fine. They can go toe-to-toe with 4-axe if you need them to. They're vulnerable to fear units and cavalry due to their lack of shield wall, and they do get loose spacing, making them very nice against missiles, much like the Iberians are. Okay, I guess we move on to the. Okay, we do these guys at the same time, I think. So we're gonna bring them right next to each other, because much like the late Libyans and the regular Libyan hoplites, they're the same unit, except the late Libyans have 5 more armor, and that armor is base value, so it's the good armor. Yeah, I don't recommend bringing them. Don't bring them. No elite spear. The overall stats are basically that of a hoplite, but I think possibly slightly worse. Yeah, they're slightly worse, actually. This costs 620, the regular Carthaginian, and the late one costs 650. Much like the regular hoplites, they're not worth bringing, just to no elite spear. And you have better options in Scutari, Samnites, Libyans. Like, just don't. I don't see a situation where you bring them. I really don't. Don't bring the Carthaginian hoplites to any variant. But the late Libyans, or the Libyan, because they're cheap, you can. African pikes. The African pikes, once again, dog side barking. Don't bring them. Much like most pikes, don't bring them. Of course, they're only pike option. Don't bring them. They're gonna be shot up. They're gonna die. You're better off getting a Libyan. They're far more likely to get kills and actually win you the game than an African pike would. They come at 700. I don't fancy them. I don't like pikes, as should be well established by now. Only randoms bring them, and we all know randoms kind of suck. So, yeah, don't. Like, if you, like, I beg you, even if you are random watching this, stop bringing pikes. They're not gonna cook. They're not gonna do anything. What is gonna do something? Libyan infantry. Comparable to 4-axe, they're 10 bore. They sacrifice 6 melee defense in order to gain a weapon of 6 AP, as I will show you, and 3 more attack. So they're a more offensive 4-axe sword. They will beat the 4-axe swords, but I think slightly, but they won't be healthy afterwards. So the Thorax might be better than the Libyan when it's being cycled, but the Libyan is better in a grind, I think. So this is going to be your mainline infantry as Carthage. You can bring a lot of these Libyans. And yeah, treat them like a Thorax. They're still going to get cooked by barbs, like Boei or Glacier. But, you know, it's still a very strong unit. And this will be your mainline infantry force. It will do well. It's got good stats across the board. Just know that barbs will do a lot more damage to you on the cycle than against other Thorax factions. Merc Sam Knights, you almost always bring 3 of these guys, with the only downside being no shield wall. They have elite level survivability with 65 health and 95 armor, 60 of which being base, the same as the Tribal Warrior. They have good charge bonus, okay defense, the poor weapon, and average attack. They're a defensively focused unit, but they've got high charge bonus, meaning on the charge they can kill. They will deal with... They can go to toe with something like Chun's Swordsman. They can. Which is pretty big. They'll still get cooked by Galatian Boei, but they give you that extra survivability. For 760, you can bring 3 of them, always bring 3 of them. They are so incredibly strong. And... yeah. You send them in first before the Libyans, because these guys need so much damage. Normally, like, oh, well, you don't want to save your better units for the end. Yes, but Sam Knights, in this situation, you want your Sam Knights to clear out all the low tiers if they're lower offensive stats, and eat all the peeler from those low tiers, so you can save your Libyans, and use guys in conjunction with your other low tiers, like Gallics or Libyan Hoplites, something like that. They're very, very strong, and they'll do just fine in your army. Moving on to the mercenary noble fighters. Once again from Aravachi, you can bring 2 of them. They do the headhunt and the loose spacing. Extremely high charge, good defense, high survivability, really good morale, extremely high offensive stats. As Carthage, you rarely see these guys amongst competitive players, as they are considered a dumpable elite, due to their 75 armor being as the mid-tiers. Though in random games, I'm sure you'll see them quite a lot as like an elite reserve. And they can certainly do well in the Carthaginian army. But for 1380, they're very expensive, and you gotta think, do you want one of these, or would you rather get what is basically 2 mid-tiers? That's a question that you've got to answer for yourself, really. But they're still an amazing unit, absolutely amazing. Once again, no shield wall, so Cav can be a big problem if you do bring them. And yeah, so yeah, that's noble fighters for you. Very, very strong, but be careful of them. And I actually forgot about the Sacred Band, of course. Despite their amazing looks, their defense is quite high. The offensive stats is good, but they missed the elite spear. Once again, they're missing that elite spear. They do come with expert charge defense. Their survivability is very good. But it's that elite spear. They don't have it. Don't bring it. They cost 1,170. Like, you can get a Libyan and a low tier. That's gonna do more than a Sacred Band would. Even against... I mean, you could bring one against Thrace, I suppose, or Drusian Kingdom, but that's it. You probably have better options, though. So, yeah. Don't bring the Sacred Band. No. Moving on to the skirmishers. We'll kick up with the Living Javelin and Peltist at the same time. 330 for the Javelin, 440 for the Peltist. Typically, I don't recommend bringing either of them. There's nothing inherently wrong, but the Libyan Javelin are just really expensive for what they are. 330 is a lot. And the Libyan Peltists are like a regular Peltist, with slightly better stats. But for some reason, whenever I use them, they never get any kills. And they have high mass, you know, they are quite an expensive skirmisher. That's the problem. As Carthage, your mid is already more expensive than most factions, like most other Hellenic factions. So, investing more into skirmishers, where your skirmishers are already expensive, is that your only other options are elites. It's risky, and I don't think it's really worth bringing the Libyan Peltist unless you're against ODK or Lusitani. I don't think it's worth it. You can play around with it, see where it applies. Like, it's a good battle buddy, but I don't think you'll be getting your value But you can. You certainly can. It's just not recommended. In most situations. Typically as Carthage, you can go 3 slingers and a Cretan or 3 Cretans and a Balearic. It's up to you and the map. And if you're attack or defense. Both are exceptional in their fields. The Balearic is the second best slinger in the game, coming at 560. And the Cretan is the top 3 archers in the game. Really good archer fighting. These guys are really good at dishing out damage to literally anything that comes across their path. Both come with quick reload. 600 for the Cretan, 560 for the Balearic. You can bring 3 of each. 1-2-4 rules though means obviously you're going to bring a 4 in total. If you have +1, you can bring a Peltast or Javelin as well. But yeah, you always bring these guys. You always bring a combination of these because you will be throwing otherwise, as it's Carthage's main strength, as their mid-tiers will succumb to barbarian infantry. Moving on to the cavalry, I guess we'll start with the Gen bodyguard. Well, you only available as a Gen option. 460, it's heavy, it's got great survivability. It's not going to do well against other cav per se, there's no bonus versus large, as you can see. Its offensive stats are really weak, though it's really tanky, it can kill archers. Once it gets into skirmishes, it can do a lot of damage being heavy. And it will always have your Gen abilities with it, so it can buff itself and refresh itself, it's pretty nice. 460, I highly recommend it, it's a really cheap, really effective general bodyguard. Moving on to the Skirmish Cav, you got a low tier option, the Merc Numidian Cav, for, I forgot, probably about 390 I want to say. It might be more expensive, don't quote me on it because I don't ever bring them. You're not really going to bring them. You can, but you're not really. Really high damage and that's about it, really. There's nothing exceptional about them. They have quick reload, but you're sacrificing... You're gaining a temporary gain for a long-term loss in terms of speed. I wouldn't say you should bring them. If you really are that worried, you can bring a Numidian Noble Cav. This is an exceptional horse skirmisher. It's got quick reload, it's got good survivability, really good offensive stats, good damage, good morale. For 1,180, because I have brought these guys before, they are so strong. Against Saba, you can bring one, kill a camel, then use this to plug the gaps later on. So you can essentially cancel out 2 camels with 1 unit. Really, really, really strong. Highly recommend if you're going against a camel spam, something like that. They're a very risky investment, as they are. They haven't got the best armor or health, but it's good, nonetheless. So just be careful with them, they're a very good tool. So, yeah, really, really recommend if you're going against that sally out. They'll do really well, they'll kill infantry and skirmishers. They are lower mass, medium, so just be aware of that. Noble Cavalry is Carthage's version of Hippeus Lancers, coming in at 1020. Good health and armor. Oh, it's decent charge. Lower end attack stats. Poor melee defense. Good morale. Comes with a diamond formation. You'd bring this once again against factions like Saba for a better general option that could go toe-to-toe the camels. Once again, like the Hippeus, these guys will do pretty okay against the camels, provided they don't hit trample. Though, it's a thing you use to plug the gaps, you know. If you take it as your general, you've got to be a bit more cautious with it, as it is your general unit. But it's still going to do well against sallies, but typically you always bring the general bodyguard general option. But if you're going against a major sally, bring the Noble Cav, and they will certainly take care of you. 2 light melee Cav, I'm just going to scan over. Both of them are light, meaning both of them are bad. Both have also survivability, both have frenzied charge, both have javelins. Merc Celtic costs 450, Iberian 500. Don't bring either of them, is my advice. Just don't. It's a waste of money. They're light, they're not going to kill anything. Here we have Merc Scutari and the Carthaginian Cav. I don't see these guys ever brought, really. The Carthaginian Cav is a good one in many people's eyes. Its stats are pretty decent for 620, I think it is. I think it can work. You know, they got some good stats in there. You know, the high attack, good armor. Actually, probably low health, to be fair. But the defense and the charge, they're okay. I'd say it can handle it on its own against other like mid-tier melee cav. The Muxkutari Cav is the more aggressive version. Better melee stats, sacrificing some armor, got a little bit more health. Doesn't sacrifice discipline to the formation though, but it gets frenzied charge. So if I had to choose, if I had to bring one of them, I don't know, so I'd probably bring the Carthaginian Cav just to experiment because I've never used it. But in an actual situation, if I was really desperate, I'd probably bring Muxkutari. But that's my opinion. And I could be wrong on that. Merc Companion Cav. One of the best melee Cav. Like, flawless attack scores. Amazing levels of survivability. That's like nearly Cataphract level. Really good armor. It has javelins. Its melee defense is okay. Charge bonus is mid. As an elite Cav. It costs 1,290. You can bring 2 of these guys. If you absolutely need this can kill 2 camels, probably, on its own. Possibly more, depending on how the charges connect and stuff like that. They're very heavy. They'll kill infantry. They'll kill skirmishers. They are so good. But they're very risky, expensive investment, because if they go wrong, that's a lot of money down the drain. In terms of elephants, you have 2 options. African Moor elephants, which is a general option, and the regular African elephants. Either work. It's very rare for you to bring them as Carthage, because these guys cost 1,400, these guys 1,600. They come with better morale, better stats, and the javelin dudes on top. Both have trample, stampede, I should say. Risky investment. I don't think you'd use them that much. They're good against Cav, they're the weaker elephants, so be aware. Like, their health is 900, they don't compare to something like the back-tuned armoured elephants. The higher morale of the African Moor elephants means they won't go berserk as much, which is quite nice. But elephants are a risky unit anyway, but they have them. It's an option. You can have it as a general if you really wanted. But I would always exercise caution, really think about what you're doing when you take an elephant. If you're trying to take one, really think, is there a better option? Because if there is, for less and less risk, normally you'd take the better option. But yeah, that sums up for Carthage. Excellent missiles. Fairly good Cav all around. Its low tiers are excellent. It's got some good mid tiers at its disposal. All round, a very good faction. It's got torts, it can do the thing. Carthage is one of those feared factions in Rome. Rome 2. If you see it, you know you're in for a bit of a tough battle. Unless you're playing a faction like Galatia, where you should just smoke Carthage, because there's not much they can do. So, yeah. Next time is Cimmeria. Yep, Cimmeria. It sucks, so it'll be a quick video. But, yeah. Do that then, and until then, bye-bye.